Tell me this. What Simpsons moment made you go, I can't believe they actually did that? Drop it in the comments before you keep watching, because today, this ride gets dark fast. You put on The Simpsons expecting the usual, Homer being an overgrown child, Bart committing light terrorism, Lisa doing homework for a world that doesn't deserve her. And then boom, the show quietly decides, what if we ruin your evening instead? It starts with one guy, Bleeding Gums Murphy. To the adults in the room, he's just that random jazz musician from the early seasons. But if you grew up with this show, you know he's something else entirely. He is the first person who looks at Lisa, and doesn't he see annoying brainy kid? He sees an artist, a soul, the only grown-up in Springfield who speaks fluent saxophone. And then Lisa goes to visit him, and the doctor basically drops a narrative nuke. He passed away. No dramatic hospital montage. No deathbed speech, he just died. Off screen, quietly, like real life when you get bad news in a hallway you'll never forget. At the funeral, Lisa plays her heart out on that sax while his spirit appears in the clouds next to Mufasa and Darth Vader. It's a joke because James Earl Jones voiced all of them, but under that joke is real grief. Suddenly this cartoon about yellow people admits something terrifying. Sometimes the people who understand you the most don't get a goodbye scene. And if you think that's rough, trust me, the next death is way dumber, way meaner, and it broke an entire family. If you're still breathing after this one, say it. Continue. Alright, you survived Bleeding Gums Murphy, congrats. You've officially graduated to Springfield Trauma 101. If you're still here, hit that subscribe button. This ride only gets worse, because now we're heading straight into the most absurdly disrespectful death The Simpsons has ever animated. And yes, you're not hearing this wrong. I am talking about Maude Flanders, a woman so pure she could probably bless holy water by touching it. So picture this, it's the year 2000. The Flanders family is at a speedway, trying to enjoy a wholesome afternoon. Meanwhile, Homer is being, Homer, acting like a giant toddler with a permanent sugar rush. Nothing new. Then the T-shirt cannons come out, and Springfield, in its infinite chaos, says, what if tragedy? But with merch, the crew fires a volley of shirts toward Homer. He ducks. The shirts hit Maude. Maude falls 20 feet. Maude dies. They killed Ned's wife with promotional T-shirts. You can single quotes make this up. But here's where it gets even more Springfield coded. This wasn't planned. Oh no. Maude didn't die because it made sense for the story. She died because Fox wouldn't give her voice actress a raise big enough to cover her plane tickets. So the writers basically went, okay, guess we'll yeet her off a stadium. Fans were furious. Ned was shattered. Springfield lost its moral compass in a skirt suit. And just when you think the show couldn't twist the knife any deeper, the next character death didn't just break the fandom, it divided it permanently. Who was it? Guess in the comments, and when you're ready for emotional damage, say, continue. Okay, deep breath, because this next one, this isn't quirky Springfield chaos anymore. This is the moment The Simpsons looked you dead in the eyes and said, life isn't fair. Deal with it. I'm talking about Frank Grimes. Grimy, if you want to make his ghost angry. Now, if you've never seen Homer's enemy, let me set the stage. Imagine a man who fought his whole life just to survive, abandoned as a kid, worked through every imaginable hardship, clawed his way into a respectable job at the nuclear plant. Then imagine him meeting Homer Simpson, a man who has a house, a family, multiple impossible achievements, including going to space, and still can't remember where he works half the time. If Frank Grimes represents the real world, Homer represents whatever happens when the universe forgets to apply consequences. And watching Grimes slowly realize this, it's like watching a pressure cooker with anger issues. Homer wins contest meant for children. Homer shows off awards he doesn't understand. Homer accidentally proves life is meaningless. And Grimes snaps. He starts mocking Homer, repeating his voice, touching dangerous equipment while shouting, I'm Homer Simpson, look at me, everyone. And then he grabs a pair of high-voltage wires and, that's it. Frank Grimes electrocutes himself to death in front of everyone. The funeral is even darker. Homer falls asleep during the eulogy. People laugh. Yep, the show actually did that. Some fans say this is the best episode ever made. Others say it's the day Homer stopped being lovable. But guess what? The next death, even Homer couldn't laugh it off. Because it wasn't absurd. It wasn't satirical. It was personal. If you're ready for the emotional equivalent of stepping on a Lego barefoot, say, continue. Alright, buckle in. Because we're leaving dark comedy territory and entering pure emotional demolition. This is the moment even longtime fans went quiet for a full 10 seconds, just staring at the TV like their soul lagged. We're talking about Mona Simpson, Homer's mom. Now listen, Mona isn't some side character who pops in for a gag. She's the missing piece of Homer's entire personality. Every insecurity, every childish meltdown, every moment he suddenly shows unexpected depth, all of it traces back to a mother who disappeared. And here's the painful twist. She didn't leave because she didn't love him. She left because she destroyed one of Mr. Burns' biological warfare labs and had to go into hiding. Yep, The Simpsons really said, what if parental trauma, but also eco-terrorism? Throughout the series, Mona drifts in and out of Homer's life. Every return feels like hope. Every goodbye feels like a scar reopening. And Homer, being Homer, never fully processes any of it. Then comes Mona Leaves a 2008. She returns and says she's done running. She's ready to stay. But Homer's so used to being hurt that he lashes out. He tells her he won't forgive her. He can't handle another goodbye. That night, he tries to apologize. He finds her sitting by the fire, silent, still. He talks to her like she's ignoring him, like she's upset. And then it hits him. She's gone. No final hug. No reconciliation. Just a mother, waiting for a son who needed 5 more minutes. During her funeral, even in death, she sabotages another one of Mr. Burns' evil schemes. Her last rebellious act. But Homer, he's never the same. And if that wasn't enough emotional devastation, the next deaths, Springfield doesn't even pause for them. Say continue if you're ready to dive into the forgotten ghost of the town. Okay, if you made it through Mona Simpson without curling into a ball, congratulations. Most fans need a snack break and 3 episodes of Treehouse of Horror to emotionally reboot. But Springfield just shrugs and keeps moving, because now we're diving into the characters who technically died, but the town reacted with the enthusiasm of someone losing a sock in the dryer. Let us start with Alice Glick, the cranky old lady who existed solely to yell at children and give out suspicious candy. How did she die? Not peacefully. Not heroically. Nope. She was murdered by a robotic baby seal toy. I'm not joking. This town has been through alien invasions and mutant squirrels, but an off-brand Furby is what took her out. Next up, Fat Tony. Yes, the Fat Tony. The mob boss. The guy whose eyebrows commit more crime than he does. He dies in Homer's arms from a heart attack. And for 0.3 seconds, it actually feels serious. Then the show immediately replaces him with his identical cousin, Fit Tony, who eats too much and becomes Fat Tony. So, did Fat Tony die? Yes. But also, no. Springfield basically respond him like this is Grand Theft Auto, New Jersey edition. And then there's Larry the Barfly. You know, the guy at Moe's who looks like he's been 47 for 47 seasons. When he dies in 2024, they reveal he considered Homer his best friend. And Homer didn't even know the man's name. That's not a gag. That's just loneliness wearing a Duff beer shirt. But believe it or not, the next death hurt even more. Not because of the story, but because of the real world. If you're ready for the most respectful heartbreak The Simpsons ever delivered, say, continue. Alright, this is where Springfield stops being funny, stops being chaotic, and stops being ironic. This next one, The Simpsons didn't plan it. They didn't joke about it. They didn't twist it for shock value. They honored it. We're talking about Edna Krabappel, Bart's chain-smoking, eye-rolling, life-tired teacher who somehow survived both standardized testing, and Bart Simpson for over 2 decades. Here's the thing. Edna didn't die because the writers wanted some big emotional arc. She didn't die because Springfield needed drama. She died because her voice actress, Marsha Wallace, passed away in real life in 2013. And The Simpsons, a show that recast everyone from mob bosses to presidents, decided Edna was irreplaceable. So they retired her permanently. No over-the-top gag. No bizarre Springfield accident. No explanation at all. Just absence. For years, all we got was a quiet nod. Ned Flanders, now widowed again, looking at a photo of her on his wall. No dialogue. No funeral. Just a soft confirmation that she was gone. It wasn't until 2021 that they finally gave her a tribute using leftover audio. And it revealed something huge. Behind all those sarcastic comments and exhausted sighs, Edna believed in Bart. She saw a smart kid buried under chaos. She saw potential where everyone else saw detention slips. And Bart, for once, actually cared. This wasn't sitcom sadness. This was Springfield saying goodbye to a real person who shaped the show. But we're not done. 2 more parts, 2 more emotional punches. If you're ready to see how all these deaths reshape Springfield itself, say, continue. Okay, deep breath. We've walked through the big ones, the tragic, the stupid, the meta, and the painfully real. But here's the strange part. Springfield itself reacts to death in a way no other TV town does. And if you pay attention, it tells you something huge about The Simpsons as a whole. See, in Springfield, death isn't a single tone. It's a whole spectrum. Sometimes it's heartfelt, like bleeding gums. Sometimes it's cartoonishly cruel, like Maude. Sometimes it's morally uncomfortable, like Grimes. Sometimes it's painfully human, like Mona or Edna. You never know what the show is going to do. And that unpredictability is exactly what made these deaths stick in our brains for decades. Because Springfield is weird. It's a town where people shrug off alien invasions but cry when a teacher disappears. A place where a mob boss can die and respawn like it's no big deal. But a barfly's quiet loneliness hits harder than any Halloween special. And honestly, that's the secret to why these moments work. They hit us from angles we didn't expect. You watch this ridiculous yellow universe for comfort, and suddenly it mirrors real life a little too accurately. Sometimes people leave without goodbye. Sometimes the world moves on faster than you. Ready for. Sometimes the funniest characters hide the saddest truths. And sometimes life just replaces Fat Tony with another Fat Tony and pretends nothing happened. But here's the thing. Every death leaves a crack in Springfield. And in Part 8, we're diving into what those cracks reveal about the entire show and about us. If you're ready for the final piece of Springfield trauma, say, continue. Alright, final lap. We've toured the graveyard, tripped over the trauma, and watched Springfield handle mortality with the emotional consistency of a malfunctioning T-cert cannon. But here's the thing nobody talks about. These deaths didn't just change the show. They changed us as viewers, because The Simpsons does this sneaky thing. It uses comedy as bubble wrap, then pops it when you least expect it. And every time someone actually stays dead, the bubble wrap disappears, and suddenly you're face to face with something painfully real. Bleeding Gums taught us you don't always get closure. Maude's death reminded us life can be stupidly unfair. Grimes showed us how cruelty can hide behind normalcy. Mona exposed how childhood wounds echo into adulthood. Larry the Barfly whispered that loneliness can live right next to you. Edna proved that the people who shape your life don't always get a proper goodbye. These aren't cartoon morals. They're the uncomfortable truths that sneak into your brain at 2 a.m. And Springfield, it absorbs every loss. It keeps going. It laughs again. Not because it forgets, but because that's how it survives. Which, by the way, is exactly how we survive too. That's why these deaths stick with us. Because beneath the yellow paint and absurd jokes, The Simpsons has always been about a messy, imperfect family trying to keep going in a messy, imperfect world, just like ours. So if you want a deeper dive on another character, or you want me to explore every unhinged detail of Springfield's emotional damage, comment the character's name. Springfield never runs out of stories or ghosts. And hey, if you made it this far, subscribe. Clearly you're built for this kind of cartoon trauma.